If you just missed the first couple of parts there, we're just going over the assignment. And the assignment there, labeling, not too bad, eh? Like, you guys should be able to bang this out, and you guys have partners as well, so...
I think...
Go ahead.
We all expected something way worse.
Well, don't. It is. It's, this course here is just bio. And there are other courses there that are going to get you on writing and report writing and all these kinds of things. So this is just a brutalized, shortened, condensed biology course. And I could get you guys to write a report. I could get you guys to do research. I can get you guys to do all this. But ultimately, no, it doesn't serve your purpose. This purpose here is... I'm going to take this book, and this is only the study guide. This ain't the other book. And we're going to try and get it into your head. That's all we're trying to do. And because this is only the first rung of the ladder. So that's why I chose just to go ahead with this, because I didn't have enough time to test the nervous system. And this is my test of the nervous system. And it's in a format there that's easy to go, easy to, input. And you've got all these. There's a bit of true and false. There's a bit of matching here. And then you just input your answers here. And the only thing you're going to scan and take a picture of is this one right here. Okay? And it's not as easy as it looks. It's really not. Some of the questions there, you will have to read chapters 10, 11, 12, and 13. And you'll have to read them pretty well. All right? So, some of the questions there are pretty cake. And that's how an assessment should be. There should be some there that go get it. But then there's some there that, how does the song go? Things that make you go, And so have some fun with it. Talk to each other. You know what I mean? That's what this is all about. Make friends, because you guys are just starting this program. This program is going to keep going. And you're going to need those friends there to bounce things off of. Okay? So that's what that is. Have some fun. Don't take it lightly. And please don't leave it till the last week. Because things are going to get hectic pretty quick. And... So it's all good. It's all good. I hope you guys are doing all right. If you missed the first half because I was an idiot and didn't start recording.
Can I ask a question? Are we all handing in just the one scan sheet with, I saw the portion at the bottom that said group members' names?
You can. It's up to you. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? There's no reason why, you know what I mean? People can't talk to each other. And I think that that's the best way to learn. Adults learn through social learning. So you can do it. It's absolutely doable by yourself. You can do it with a partner. Why not? Because, learn, talk to each other, get a pot of coffee, get on the phone, and just talk and bounce ideas off. That's what I really want. So, if you want to do it by yourself, go for it. It's completely doable. So have some.
I meant, like, in the do we each hand in an answer sheet, or if we are in a group, just hand in one for the group?
You could. Everyone will hand in one, just so I know. And but yeah, please have your partners, everyone's name listed on it, just so I know. Just because, you know what I mean. You guys wouldn't believe how it's uploading assignments. And I'm sure it'll happen here, and it's perfectly okay. I don't want you guys to feel bad or anything, but if you do upload, it happens all the time. With last semester there, chemistry lab, and a student would inadvertently upload a health report on vitamin C from last semester from another course. And once you upload something there to Blackboard, you can't un-upload it. You know what I mean? And so it's stuck there. So then you'll need to email me your assignment that you should have sent to Blackboard. And then I've got to put that assignment into a special folder on my email. So now I have assignments on Blackboard, I have assignments on email, and it just, so the mistakes will happen. It's okay. It's part of my job to to fix things, and I'm supposed to be the expert on Blackboard. You're not. So make mistakes. I'm very forgiving. I think you guys are pretty aware of me and my ethics at this point. So whatever works for you, but please have everybody's name on the assignment there. And other than that, good question. What else we got?
In terms of handing it in,
Yeah.
can we, well, in terms of doing it and then handing it in, are we printing it off and then filling everything in and scanning it? Are we taking the Word document and putting in the numbers and letters and all that sort of stuff? Are we handing in just the first page and the last page?
Nope. You're only going to hand in the last page. Because the first, you'll see here if I scroll through, these are the word answers there from the brain.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You can just write a word answer in there or whatever. And I don't even care about spelling. Like diencephalon. That's part of the brain. You'll have to know that one. All right? It's okay. I'm not really going to go after spelling and this and that. But as long as I can read it, it's okay. It's good. It should be spelled correctly. But everything is here. As far as I can see, I've gone through it like a million times. But that's the thing with making these things is I'm looking at it through my eyes. And my eyes are... my eyes. So if you guys see anything there that's kind of wonky or doesn't make any sense, just email me. We'll fix it up. I'm not perfect, but as far as I could see, it looks pretty good. But if it's not, let me know. Okay? And, but good question. That's how she goes. As far as I can see, everything is right here is self-contained. And then I'm going to print all these off, and then I'll spend 5 hours and I'll mark all these. And but that's what we got. Good question. What else we got? And you don't have to wait until week 11 to hand it in. You can hand this thing in anytime. Okay? The portal is open. It will remain open. And, yeah, but other than that, we're good. Are we good? Let's get the bones, shall we? Now, week 4. Can you believe we're already on week 4? You're already 33% way through the course. I know, eh? And waiting... That's how these like if you think back to high school and it's just how the time would drag, it's just painful. But that's the thing. When you guys are involved in a post-secondary course, these semesters, man, you don't even have time to think. You just kind of go into a dream state, and then all of a sudden you wake up and it's, 2 weeks until final exams? So it's all good. You guys, I can tell you guys are all on top of things. You guys rocked the last test, so I'm not worried at all. Okay? But maintain, because things now, they're not going to get more difficult. It's just there's more stuff I'm going to put in your knapsack. And it's going to get heavier. It's all right. But your legs are getting stronger. Your brain's getting stronger. So it's all good. I missed that. I'll get that. And I tried to read. Forget who that was. But let's continue. We'll do the same thing. We'll break the class up into 2 videos. Okay. So at the end of Bones, we'll take a 10-minute. All right. I've added. You guys have your study guides now. All right. So you've got the study guide answers. Okay. These are all found in the study guide. Okay. The thin little wonky book. All right. So you guys have those. They're all there. Hit them. Hit them hard. Some of it is way beyond where we're going to be. All right. But hit it anyway. Okay. What else we got here? These are the review questions there. Okay, sorry, that's the PowerPoint. Losing my mind, man. Seriously. And I have from another book. This is actually a really good book that I used there a couple years ago. They don't use it anymore, but I'm being sneaky here. I call these the PowerPoint clickers, and they're awesome. You know what I mean? It's if we had time to do all these, I would do them, but You guys got the questions and the answer, so it's all of these right here. And I don't know how many there are. They differ from chapter to chapter, but I'll include them on every single chapter. So y'all can just have some fun with this. And you know what? Hopefully this is becoming fun. And it becomes addictive, becomes like a drug where you just want more and more. And that's the difference between learning as a kid in high school and learning as an adult. I think you guys already have seen the difference. So I'm going to shut up and move on. Thank you, Ian. Just nod your head. Yep. Thank you, Ian. All right, let's go. Muscles. Oh, yeah. Here we go. And if you guys can't see something or if there's an issue on the screen, because just turn your microphone on and say, hey, Ian, there's something wrong, okay? Because I'm looking at the PowerPoint. I can't see your comments. I read the comments, but all right. So we're going to identify the 3 types of muscle, compare the structure of whole muscle as opposed to the structure of the muscle as a single muscle fiber. So we're going to look at it macro and then the macro, eh? All right. The whole idea of how a muscle works, we're going to get into that right at the molecular level. It's so cool. And it's awesome. And it's called the sliding filament theory. Okay? And that's how your muscles contract. And they do it right at the cellular level. By the way, I got lots of videos that I'm going to try and incorporate there today. I couldn't get them onto Blackboard for you guys, but I'm going to try and organize it here. So we'll see how it all goes. But I do have videos, so I don't have to talk the whole time. We're going to talk about ATP and its function. Okay, remember ATP? That's the battery molecules that we make from eating a banana. And these are how we get energy. So we'll talk about how they work in muscle contraction. We will describe the relationship between skeletal muscle and nerves. And we'll do a little bit of the motor unit and the neuromuscular junction. Talk to me. Your language acquisition skills are getting better by the week in biology. That should make some sense. I'm not telling you, we'll get there. But I think you guys should have an idea of already what we're talking about there. The neuromuscular junction. There's 3 kinds of muscle. There is skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. Okay? We'll start off with cardiac. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to start off with skeletal. Kids, eh? All right. So, skeletal muscle. This is muscle that we have control over. Okay? I'm telling my fingers to move. They are moving. I have control over them. Skeletal muscle, you have control over. It is very strong. Okay? But it is very short-lived. All right? It's long striated cylindrical fibers, as you can see right here. Okay? Striated means there are striations there, and we'll get into what those striations do. Because what you're looking at is a macro shot of the micro world. And we'll show you what I mean here. Okay? So these are striated here. They are multinucleated. More than one nucleus. 20% water, or 75% water, 20% protein. But what I really want you guys to understand is that skeletal muscle you have control over, but it is very strong, but it's short-lived. Okay, it doesn't last very long. You know, you experience muscle fatigue very quickly. All right. Smooth. Okay. Like if you, the skeletal there, you got your bicep, your tricep, your gluteus maximus, all these different, weightlifter muscles, these kinds of things. Smooth muscle you don't see. Okay? This is muscle there that you do not have control over. Your body is doing it. without you. And some of these may blow your mind. I don't know. The stomach, like as soon as you eat that banana, you're chewing it. It turns into a bolus. That's actually the word for that mushy ball that gets stuffed down. And once it passes your epiglottis here and goes down, you don't have any control over it until about 24 hours later. All right? And what is making this food travel through? Like you can go on YouTube and you can see somebody drinking a glass of water upside down. And you see them, they're standing on their head and they're drinking a glass of water. Well, how does that water go up the esophagus now? It's because the esophagus is muscle, and when that food comes down, it starts to go down, there's a sensor there, and the esophagus starts to go like this. And then eventually, plop, it falls into the stomach. That's it. Isn't that yummy stuff? Okay. So smooth muscle, you'll see it's quite different from the skeletal. Okay. Your intestines are the same thing, and you'll know. And a good word here, you want to write this one down because it's coming a lot. It's called peristalsis. Peri, P-E-R-I, S-T-A-L-S-I-S. Peristalsis. And that's the whole idea of the esophagus or the small intestine pushing things through. It's all smooth muscle. Blood vessels, veins, arteries, muscle. And we'll get into all that. Veins and arteries, very different. Arteries, very strong muscle. Veins, very weak. But we'll get into all these kinds of things. But yeah, your blood vessels, muscle, smooth muscle. Iris of the eye, your bladder. You don't have any control over your bladder. It just does whatever the heck it wants to do. Who's controlling it? All right. The thing with smooth muscle, it's kind of the exact opposite as skeletal. Okay, you have no control. It's not strong, but it lasts a long time. It can last a long time. Skeletal muscle, very strong, very short, long-lived, fatigue. Smooth muscle, not strong, lasts a long time. No control. Okay? And cardiac is kind of a combo of the two. All right? When we get into the heart, man, you're going to see the heart is a workhorse. And I mean, it's 247, 365. We all hope, right? And so the cardiac muscle, you'll see it's kind of a combination of the two. And I don't want to say that, but you know what I mean? It has attributes of smooth and skeletal. The heart, we do not control. We have no control over my heart beating. Okay? So in that way, it's kind of related to smooth. But yet, it is very powerful. You wait until we get into the aorta. The aorta gets a smackdown every heartbeat for the rest of your life. And it's huge pressure. And so the heart pumps strong, but it doesn't fatigue. Okay? So it's kind of a combination of smooth and skeletal. All right? Yeah, good. Any questions like that? There's a nice little shot of the three. Okay? Be able to talk about each of these in some capacity and be able to identify, little differences there, okay? Here's some more here. You guys can have a read of this there. Just exactly what I was saying, okay? Just a little recap. All right, so have a look at that if you need something there. This is a good little slide there for a test. Oh, did I just say that? Oh, all right. Muscle tissue. Skeletal muscle tissue is also called a muscle fiber. Okay. Why is this up so high? Maybe I just need to move that back a bit. There we go. Can I move that down? Why, yes, I can. Okay. Myoblast. We're going to get into these. We're going to get into all these kinds of things here. But let's go into this right here. Good. So, the skeletal muscle fibers are formed by the fusion of multiple myoblasts. Now, when we get into bones, you're going to see this end of a word again. You're going to see blast and clast. All right? Blasts tend to build things. You got myoblasts and osteoblasts. If you ever see blast, B means build, constructing, building things. So myoblasts there, they build things. Skeletal muscle fibers are formed by the fusion of multiple myoblasts. So it's building during development. They end up with multiple nuclei, okay, which are needed there to support protein synthesis. We'll get in there, okay? But just a little thing there. Blast means builder. Clast with a C means break things down, but we'll get there. They tend to be striated, as we talk about. There's a great word, a sarcomere. This is, at the cellular level, what happens with the muscle. You know, muscle contracts, right? Sorry, I'm trying to do this in front of my camera. It contracts, right? Well, these little tiny sarcomeres that make up your muscle in your bicep, and I mean there's like 100 million of them, and that's called a sarcomere. We'll get there. Skeletal muscles do not undergo cell division. Interesting. There's no mitosis in skeletal muscle. All right. And they contain these satellite cells, but we'll move on from these ones here. I elected to do muscle there before bone for no particular reason. Like I'm doing chapter 9 before I do chapter 8. It's all right though. Muscle tissue here, fibers are some of the longest in the body. All right, some muscle fibers there in the leg and the gluteus maximus there and the hamstring. Some of them can be quite long, and I mean that. They're held together there by connective tissue. Okay, some fibers there, they contract quickly. Others do not. And it's the whole idea of, if you take a look at chicken meat, you've got white meat and you've got dark meat. Now, you look at where is the white meat on a chicken? It's the breast meat, right? Now, chickens are not really using their breasts a lot. Chickens really don't fly. So, you know, that's why it's white. It hasn't been used a lot, right? The dark meat, the legs, the thighs, the wings, that's where most of the action is happening. So you'll see there's a lot more blood, and that's what gives dark meat there its dark appearance. And tougher meat, just like even like when you have a steak or any type of meat at all, meat is the muscle of the animal, and depending upon where that muscle came from will determine its, tenderness. Okay, and like a tenderloin comes from the inside, close to the spine, where there's not a lot of movement, so that's why that meat is very tender and soft. But if you take a piece of leg meat or thigh or shoulder, like these cuts of meat there that like brisket and all these, they're very tough and they need to be cooked, long and slow, that kind of a thing. But enough of that. All right. Skeletal muscle has some defining characteristics. We've gone through this here. Okay. You've got the we'll get into myofibrils there. I've got some great diagrams which we'll show you, okay? Muscles are attached to the bone by tendons. Write this one down. Tendons attach muscle to bone. Tendons attach muscle to bone. Ligaments attach bone to bone. Okay? Tendons are supposed to move because your muscle contracts. Therefore, now it pulls my wrist bone or my radius my ulna closer to me, and it pulls the bone. So therefore, now I have movement. Ligaments, like when you your ankle has a lot of ligaments. Your knee, any type of joint has ligaments. Like you look at my wrist here, there are ligaments. Ligaments are bone to bone. And you see, I can't move my wrist any more than that because I'm starting to feel ligaments pulling a little bit. And the ligaments are there to stop movement or hinder movement or prevent movement. And when you roll over on your ankle, you've sprained your ankle. Well, what you've done is these ligaments around your ankle, oh man, they're tough as nails, right? If you move your ankle right now, you can't really move it that much. You can kind of move it in kind of like a this way, you know what I mean? But you can't move your ankle like this and flip it under your foot or anything like this because there's ligaments there. When you roll over on your ankle and you've sprained your ankle, now those ligaments, you've stretched them. And they are not supposed to be stretched. And that's why, like my buddy there, he lives in Vaughan, I've known him a million years, he sprained his ankle. He sprained his right ankle 4 times and his left ankle 3 times. And he never took care of them. And now, if you don't get off that ankle for a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks, those ligaments could stay stretched. And the damage is that they will permanently stay stretched. So now, he can't even help me, move a buffet up the stairs because he can't trust his ankles. So if you sprain any of those, if you do any damage there to your ligaments, take it easy, man, and take the time. These ones here, I'm going to leave these there with you, okay? You will have to know all of these. This is a great slide. Because all of these words we'll go through. You've got fascia, connective tissue, okay, which holds the muscle fiber together. I'll show you there in the next slide. A fiber is an individual muscle tissue. Insertion is the more movable end, okay, as opposed to the origin. So every muscle has an origin and an insertion. The insertion side is the moving side. The origin side is not. That's the immovable side. So we'll get there. Motor nerve. Nerve that stimulates to contract the muscle. How do your muscles know? Okay, I am going to tell my finger right now to move. So then my brain is sending a message there through the nerves. And, all right. The nerves are sending the electrical signal to the muscles, which then, once the nerve hits the muscles, it starts to depolarize and the muscle contracts. We're going head first into that in about 15 minutes. And it's okay. This is fun. Every PowerPoint you take is going to be better than the last because it's all building on the same thing. All right? A myofibril. These are fibrils in the muscle cells that contain myosin and actin. Here we're into the sarcomere, which we'll get into, okay? I'm just throwing words at you. Hello? Who am I talking to? Who's talking? Hello?
Hi. I was just wondering if... Esther. Hi, Esther.
Hi, Esther.
It's Esther here.
Yeah.
So my question is... this is hard to remember all at once. Will these PowerPoints be available on Blackboard?
They are. Are they not up on Blackboard?
Or not?
Yeah, they always have.
Yeah, they're there.
Yeah, are they?
I have not checked.
Okay.
I'm just asking if they will be there.
Oh yeah, you can download these. They're yours. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and if you can't see them, then yeah, stick around
I
after.
just have not noticed that before.
Okay, well then please, Esther, stick around after class and we'll
Okay.
walk you through that
All
because these are
Thank you.
yours and yeah, you'll need these. Oh yeah, no, thanks,
No,
Esther.
I can
That's
see them. I just want to go over it.
okay. The Esther brought up a good point. There's a lot of things here to know, and there's no way you could ever know all of these while sitting here with me for the next 40 minutes. I'm introducing this stuff, and hopefully there you guys have had a chance to go over the book. You know what I mean? I know we all have our lives and this and that's okay. But, have it there, a great way to fall asleep is to have this textbook by your bedside. And, oh man, you'll have the best sleep of your life. You have the best sleep of your life. Have this there and read a couple pages there and you'll be out like a light. But funny enough, you do retain it. And you actually, if that's the last thing your brain is thinking about there before you sleep, you actually get it. So these PowerPoints are just an aid. You guys read the book, you guys try the questions, and within a couple of days, you'll get the grasp of this. Because there's no way you're ever going to know this in 40 minutes during my class here and me yak it out over the internet. Okay? This is just an initial, and then you guys come back to me there in a couple days and say, hey, slide 34, what did you mean by this? And that's where we're at, okay? So thank you, Esther, for bringing that up. I really appreciate that. Awesome question. Origin, you got the sarcoplasm, okay? Cellular cytoplasm within a muscle cell. You remember a cytoplasm? Remember that's the fluid inside of a cell, right? In the matrix there. Well, here we have what's called a sarcoplasm. It's kind of the same banana, but here we're talking about a muscle fibril, but we'll get there. Sarcomere, the contractile unit of a muscle cell. Tendon connects tissue, muscle to bone, involved in movement. Tone. Okay? Here we're not talking about a musical tone. Here we're talking about tension of the muscle. And this one here, you'll see the slide again, but you might as well write it down right now. Muscle cells follow this rule: all or none. Okay? All or none. A muscle fiber will fire 100% or not at all. All right? So if you want to lift up, a 200-gram dumbbell, I don't know, 200 gram, what is that? Like the size of an envelope? Whatever. All right, so you're picking up, like I'm picking up this pen right here. I'm picking it up. I'm not using all of my power, all of my muscles in my arm aren't flexing. No, only some of them are. All right, but the ones that are flexing, they're going 100%. Okay, so it's called the all or none rule for muscle firing. We'll get there. I have a whole slide or two on that one. Fibrillation. Hi, Kate.
Hi, I have a quick question here.
What do you got?
So your I'm gonna pronounce these wrong. But your
Sarcomere, sarcoplasm.
Yes. So before you said our peristalsis.
Oh, peristalsis.
Yes. Would those not be like the same thing?
No. But good question though.
Okay.
Sarcomere. Here we're talking microscopic. This is like if here's my bicep here. All right. Sorry, I'm not showing off. So here's this is the whole meat right here. But if we go down with a microscope and look at what's going on the muscle fibers there in the microscope, that's where we will see the sarcomere. That's where we'll see that. The peristalsis is more on a macro level. When you eat a banana, your organ systems, like your digestive tract here, will start to the smooth muscle will start to push that banana Like here where, like your esophagus is right here and it's pushing like this. It's not microbiology. This is more macro. So when you're talking the sarcomere,
Okay.
this is what's going on in the muscle. It's okay. Good question. We'll get there. We'll get there. All the slides here. Sorry, what do you got?
Sarcomere is in the cells.
Is
and
in the
other
muscle
one
cells.
Is like in the actual, like your body system.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
Your
It's an
organs and stuff.
organ system. Okay. You got it. Sarcomere, sarcoplasm. These are microscopic in the muscle cells, and these are the functional units of how your muscle contracts. Good question. I love it. Keep at it. Fibrillation. When your muscles are like this, right? You do not want your heart to fibrillate. That's why they have defibrillators. Yeah. All right, let's have a look. I'll kind of zoom in on all these just to, but what I've done is, like you've got the macro here. I'm just trying to get over here. All right, so these are your bones here, which we'll get into. All right, and here's your tendon. Okay, attaches from the bone to the muscle. And when we get into the bones there in an hour or so, you'll see that the bones aren't perfectly smooth. Over millions of years of evolution there, the body has said, well, you know, I can't really attach a muscle to a smooth piece of bone, so why don't I just make a little groove here in the bone or a little ridge, something there that has a little bit of roughness. So, and they call them these tuberosities, these little grooves and all these, and you can't see it here, but that's where this tendon is attached onto. It gives it some, like, something to hook onto, right? And so there's your tendon. Now, let's get into this. You will see here, this is your muscle. This is your bicep. This is the big piece of meat, all right? That's under your skin right here. And you'll see here that the muscle is covered with this outer layer called an epimysium. Okay? Just call it even a thin layer of saran wrap. Well, let's not call it that, but you get my idea, right? All right. So, epimysium, that covers, that's the big muscle. And you can see in here, have a look. You got blood, you got arteries, you got veins, you even have stuff there from why is it not coming to me? What's the other system? Lymphatic. Thank you very much. Losing my mind. Seriously. So, and you'll have a look here at these guys here, and we're going to pop one of these out right here. So, let's have a look. So, you see these bundles here that make up your muscle, all right? And we call these there a fascicle. So, this is a fascicle, 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 fascicle. And each of these fascicles, it has a covering. And these coverings are called a paramecium. So you got epi, and you got peri. That's the next step. That's inside. Okay? So you have a paramecium. All right? And then you'll see that these were fascicles, but then you see a fascicle, you can break these up into these muscle fibers. All right? And you'll see here, if I can zoom over. There we go. So what I've done here is I've blown one of these up here. And so this is the same shot. So here's a fascicle, okay, and here's a muscle fiber. So here's your, here's the same shot. Here's the fascicle. There's your paramecium as opposed to your epimysium, which is on the outside. Okay, paramecium covers there the fascicle. Pop one of these guys out here now. Okay, and we have what's called a muscle fiber. All right, and you see, there's your capillaries, there's your blood, there's all that, right? And you'll see here that each of these muscle fibers has a lining, and this one here is called an endomysium. So you got epimysium. Pop a fascicle out, you have a paramecium, and then pop a muscle fiber out, you have an endomysium. And now we're into the microscopic. And you see here these muscle fibers, if you pop one of these guys out, these guys here are, these are your myofibrils, okay? And you can see here, can you see the, I'll try and zoom in. You see now, you see these bands? You see how you got, there's a dark and then there's a light, and you see how there's a gap in here? Well, why is there a gap? That's how she goes. And the striations there that you see in the muscle fiber there from, I don't know, was it slide 1 or slide 2, slide 3? That is why, because that's where, this is where we're getting into the sarcomere and all this kind of stuff. And the last, you go over here, apologies, a little bit of right there, but, so, and you see here, this is just a blow up here, okay? And you'll have a look here, all right? Sarcolemma, sarcoplasm, okay, that's the fluid in between. And you'll see once you pop one of these guys out, and I mean these guys here, these ones here, this is what happens. And you'll see the same thing. You see that there's a dark line going across, and then there's a light line with gaps, okay? Have a look at these. There's a thick filament. That dark line going across is the thick filament. We call it myosin. The thin filament, the one with the gap, we call this actin. So there's a thin filament, actin. There's a thick filament, myosin. And actin and myosin are the two bananas there that are involved in muscle contraction. All right. You have a look here. And you can see them here. You've got a thick and a thin, right? And you'll see here that this is my sarcomere. This is the individual unit there of muscle contraction. So you see, this here will contract, and then this one here will contract. And one causes the other. We'll show you about all this kind of stuff here. And then, basically, the bottom of the line here, we can't really get any smaller than this. So here is your thick filament, okay, myosin. Here's your thin filament, your actin. And you'll see here, there, that there's room to contract. And you see how there's little bumps on here? These guys here, they kind of pull. They pull these two thin filaments together and then release them and then pull. You see the contraction? That's how this one works. I kind of beat this whole thing there to death with videos and all that. So if you don't get what I'm talking about now, you will. Here's just another slide of the same thing. Okay? And you guys can zoom in and have a look. There's, so just be able to identify thick and thin filaments, sarcomere, you know, your three types of membranes on the top of these guys here. So you got your epimysium, paramecium, endomysium. There's lots there for you guys to know. And, okay. So, give me 2 seconds here, and I'm going to try and find, maybe these videos here, yes, they will. Let's have a look. Okay. So, myofibrils are bundles of contractile filaments that give skeletal and cardiac muscles their characteristic striated appearance. So myofibrils, they give the striated appearance, and there's your actin and your myosin. Okay? So let's have a look here. Let's see if this works.
Skeletal muscles, like the biceps brachii, attach to bone via connective tissue called tendons. Muscles are composed of bundles of muscle fibers. Each bundle is separated by connective tissues known as paramecium. Each fasciculus is made up of muscle fibers, which are separated by connective tissue called endomysium. Skeletal muscle fibers or cells are multinucleated and striated in appearance. Muscle cells are composed of subunits called myofibrils. Each myofibril is made up of several myofilaments. The two types of myofilament shown in red are composed primarily of the protein myosin, and a thin myofilament shown in blue composed mainly of the protein actin. The repeating arrangement of thick and thin myofilaments serves as the fundamental subunit of striated muscle contraction. These subunits are called sarcomeres. A sarcomere contraction is represented by the shortening of the distance between the Z lines. The sarcomere shortens because the thin filaments slide past the thick filaments. In 3D, each thick myofilament is surrounded by 6 thin myofilaments arranged in a hexagonal pattern. The 3D arrangement of sliding myofilaments is the microscopic basis of muscle contraction.
Perfect. Boy, am I happy those muscle work. The movie works. So there you go. Same banana. When a muscle contracts, the whole thing shortens because the individual filaments slide across each other. But the thick and thin filaments themselves do not shorten. So they're not shortening, they just move. See, like my fingers aren't shortening. I hope they're not. All right. So let's move on, shall we? The neuromuscular junction. All right. This is where the nerve that's sending a message, okay, hits the muscle. That's all it is. You've got a nerve and a muscle. How does the nerve tell the muscle, all right, that we need to move? Well, the impulse or the stimulus is brought to muscles by the motor nerve, okay, by way of the neuromuscular junction. So a junction just means one road meeting another. Well, the nerve is now meeting the muscle. That's what we're talking about here. There's a junction. There's two different bananas that are meeting, and one is going to influence the other. Okay? The neuromuscular junction is a connection between the muscle cell and the neuron, which contains acetylcholine. That should, when you guys are reading in your nerves, okay, and this is one of the things there I want you guys to take away, is that the nerves are just little railroad tracks, and they're all separate. So if one of those railroad tracks gets injured or damaged or something like that, the train can't come down. All right? So, and what happens is they're all separated. Okay? There's a little space in between each neuron, and the electrical signal comes from the brain and it's traveling down. All right? And in order for the message to jump from one neuron to another, which it does 1,000,000 times a second, okay, there's a chemical released into that space between nerves, and it's called acetylcholine. All right, and what this does is a neurotransmitter. Okay, and in normal conditions, when a nerve cell, when an electrical impulse is traveling down the neuron, it's coming down, and then as it's just about to hit the end of the neuron, the space in between this neuron and the next is filled with acetylcholine, and the message jumps, literally jumps across, and the message is transmitted to the next neuron, who then transmits the same message down to its feet and does the same thing. Acetylcholine is pumped into the space, and the message moves. Well, this is kind of what's going on here as well. Okay? As the message is coming or leaving the neuron and going to the muscle, okay, there's acetylcholine that's flooded here. And I got a couple movies here that'll show you. So I'm just talking about this so when you see the movie, you'll go, yeah. Calcium. We're all thought that calcium is only good for the bones and the teeth. And not so. If you didn't have any calcium, not a single muscle or neuron would fire. Okay? As the message is coming down the neuron, okay, calcium is released, which then causes acetylcholine to be released. Got it? As the message is traveling down the neuron, calcium is released, which then causes acetylcholine to be released, and therefore now the message can be transmitted. No calcium, no message. The motor nerve fiber divides among the thousands of muscle fibers. One nerve fiber supplies 5 to 200 muscle fibers. Interesting. So one neuron, one nerve fiber will give the message there from anywhere to 5 to 200 muscle fibers. Okay, and there's a good one there. Have a look at that one. That's a good little disease. Okay, I'm not going to blow this up. You guys can have a look at this if you, I guess maybe we can, but you guys can have a look at this if you want. Blow it all up and have a look. It comes, I think it's right from your textbook anyway, but if you don't want to have a look at it, I've got lots of videos here that'll just show you. I think I got 5 or 6 of them, so you guys are in good hold on here. The role of calcium and adenosine triphosphate, ATP. Calcium is stored away from the thick and thin filaments. Okay. When stimulated, this sarcoplasmic reticulum releases the calcium. So here we're talking in the muscle. So the nerve has transmitted its message here. So now, when we're in the muscle here, calcium is a key component in muscles firing. And if there's no calcium in the muscle, it ain't going to fire. And I'll show you these here. Even muscle relaxing, everything goes back to normal. But we'll show you all these right here. Let's have a look.
To activate skeletal muscle, the central nervous system initiates an action potential that travels down the spinal cord to the motor neurons. As the nerve fiber branches, the action potential travels down each branch. Each nerve fiber branches many times and stimulates several skeletal muscle fibers. The union of the axon and muscle fiber is called the neuromuscular junction. Zooming into the microscopic level, each branch of the neuron has a terminal that invaginates the muscle fiber while remaining outside the muscle fiber plasma membrane. The action potential arrives at the axon terminal. In the terminal, the action potential causes the release of acetylcholine from the synaptic vesicle in the space between the axon terminal.
Can you guys not hear it?
No, it's very hard to hear. We had it for a little bit and then it just like dropped off.
Really?
And the muscle fiber, called the synaptic cleft. In the synaptic
Yeah, it sounds like it's playing through your speakers and then it's coming through your mic.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's not what I want. Well, all right then. Darn it. Why isn't that coming through? Well, there you go. You try and do your best. But what we're talking about here is just the whole idea that the calcium, it causes that's what all this is. It's a cascading effect where because of one action, another action happens. Because that one happens, another one happens, and then all of a sudden the whole house of cards falls down. That's what's going on here. And rats, if that's not working, the oh man, I don't know what to do now. Because I had here. If you guys can't hear the, all right, is
Maybe
it?
try playing it again with your mic off. Maybe it'll.
Maybe. Well, let's try it. Can you guys? No, you guys wouldn't. Sorry.
Are you using a streaming software to?
No, these are all embedded. These are all on my computer. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Bugger, man! I spent about 5 hours trying to get these, man. All right, then what I will do is I don't know what I'm gonna do. Let me see what I can do here. All right. You know what? It's been an hour. That's okay. Let's take 5 minutes. Go get a coffee refill, and let me see what I can come up with, and we'll keep going. It's a work in progress, and I'm trying. So let's have a look here, and give me a couple minutes here to go and take. Why can't I stop this, man? What just happened?